everybody! Today's video is all about DIY wall hangings. This first project I'm doing will be using yarn and a dowel to create a decorative hanging. I chose these 3 monochromatic yarns from my collection. Taking the yarn, I created strips that were the length of about 2 dowels. This DIY allows you to get completely creative with whatever shape and colors you'd like to go with. But for this exact one that I made, I went with 10 strings of black yarn, 8 gray, and 8 white. So starting with this white yarn piece that I want in the middle, I made a knot by looping it around and pulling it through just like it's shown in the video below. Then I repeated this with all the white yarn for the middle section. Then on either side of the white yarn, I put 4 gray strings and 5 black strings to create this kind of framed type thing. Now it's time for my favorite part, which is the haircut. I laid the hanging down on the table and went through with the scissors to create this triangle shape. I really recommend getting sharp scissors for this since mine was super dull and it was really difficult to cut. Then lastly, I took some macrame cord and created a string to hang it. Next is a pin, pennant, and pocket hanging. I have a pretty big collection of enamel pins that I don't really know what to do with, so this hanging is a great way to display them while also having storage below. For the canvas, I measured out 12 inches by 13 inches, leaving half a seam for seam allowance on all sides. Then for the faux leather pocket, I cut it to be 5 inches by 4 inches, and then added on about 1 centimeter for seam allowance. You can of course use different fabric than just faux leather. It was really tough to actually sew, so patterned fabric will work as well, but I do recommend that you use something thicker like canvas for the backing. My camera cut out at this part, but the idea is that the pockets will lay at the bottom and then the pins can go at the top. I folded in the seams and clipped them, then got to sewing. The canvas just needed to be flipped over ½ an inch and then sewn to create an even edge on 3 sides. Then for the top, where a dowel will go through, I folded the top over about 1 inch so that I could create an opening it could slide through. Now I'm folding over the top part of the pocket so that I can create a straight stitch down to hem it. Now is the kind of difficult part, which is sewing the pockets onto the canvas. I lined it up so that the pocket would end where the stitch of the fabric is, and then sewed it on using that as a guide. Then I did the same with the pocket on the other side. This last DIY is a wall pocket that I made using scrap fabric and an embroidery hoop that I had laying around. I used this gray felt as a background and this Montserrat pattern fabric as the pocket. You can also use embroidery thread to spice up the hanging as well. First, start off with measuring how far up you want the pocket to be. I wanted mine to be a bit below halfway, so I marked off where that was on the fabric and cut it out, leaving quite a lot of room around it so it will fit around the hoop. The next step is to hem the pocket so that it looks neat. This can be done with a sewing machine super quickly, but I decided to hand sew it with some embroidery thread. I am incredibly bad at hand sewing, so I apologize for how messy this is, but I tried my best. When this was done, I put my gray felt over the inside hoop and then positioned the pocket to where I thought would be a good fit for it. As you'll see in a second, it took me forever to figure out how I wanted the slack and length, and depending on what you want to put in it, you should play around with it too. When I was finally happy with the positioning, I put the other hoop on top and locked it in place. Then the last step was just to cut out the scrap fabric off to make a clean edge. Afterwards, I went in and embroidered a little rose with 2 leaves coming out of it. This is completely optional. I just had the thread with me and I thought I'd play around with creating something on the felt, and I really liked how this turned out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more videos just like this.